Isn't it interesting though how like when that Jahar kid was discovered as the Boston bomber, and everyone was using like, oh, he used to be so chill, just laid back, smoked marijuana. He made him really chill. But then with Trayvon Martin, he was a monster who smoked marijuana and made him rage. Like the complete opposite spectrum that they're trying to
Yeah,
push.
that's true. Well, maybe we should talk about. I just want to briefly touch on this on the Rolling Stone cover controversy, where there's a picture of Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, the one of the Boston bombers, and apparently there's been huge outrage about this in certain areas. Some resellers of Rolling Stone, CVS, who else is it? Walgreens, several other chains have decided they're not going to sell this issue of Rolling Stone magazine because of the picture of Zohar, which makes him look like a rock star. Now, understand, it's the same picture that the New York Times ran of him in the early days when he was identified. There's no doubt that this picture was chosen because in some way it does capture a quality that we've seen in pictures of other rock stars. But if you read the piece, and there's no doubt also that the Rolling Stone people have said this could be controversial, but so what? If you read the piece, it definitely captures this sense of here's a guy who appeared to be all of those qualities. A chill guy who was sort of charming and magnetic and had some charisma. Was one of the captains on the wrestling team. He was quiet and shy and removed. Sort of like this rebel without a cause type of quality. Sort of like the misunderstood guy. And no one imagined that this was brewing in him. You can see how that cover makes sense. And I will also say that the piece itself, I think, is a brilliant piece of reporting. I think it's a really important piece of reporting because we are just told terrorist. And this invocation of the word terrorist justifies all sorts of curbing of our civil rights, all sorts of draconian responses. When in fact, I think what this story shows is that there is nuance. Not to say that anything is justified, but the catch-all phrase terrorist makes it too easy for the national security state to take actions that and create a sense of fear that is not in line with actually who these people are. That is not to say that this guy wasn't a terrorist, but it is to say that this guy was obviously, his brother was a psychopath. And this guy was obviously untethered in many respects. He had been abandoned by his family. He was under the sort of the influence of this psychopathic brother and latched on to just this idea because in some ways it gave him an identity. And it could have really been anything. It's just that this fundamentalist Islam is floating around out there, that this cause that he felt that, and the cause of this notion, I think he expresses in the story to someone at one point, like if Muslim people are one person, and if you do harm to one, you're doing harm to all. That this guy, while I think in some respects, the notion of like, they're attacking my people, the government is attacking my people, the response that he took was wrong. And a function more of his psychological state than it was of that idea. I think that's what comes across. I mean, it's a very nuanced sort of dynamic that had there been some other driving force, he could have ended up going into a theater and shooting people because for some other reason. I mean, the point being that it's not so simple that these people are driven by an ideology. They are not just driven by an ideology. Some may very well be. Osama bin Laden, I think, is an example of that. But some of these other people that we're all told, there's legions of suicide bombers driven by an ideology. No, there are legions of people out there who are psychologically damaged and who then find something to cling to that provides them some justification for their action. And that something could be anything at any given time.